What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 40. Define performance improvement, quality improvement assurance activities. So that sounds like kind of some high-level words, like what does this really mean? So performance improvement or quality improvement, basically, it's kind of like, hey, we're doing something this way. Can we improve upon it to provide better patient outcomes? Are we doing the best quality that we can? So practically, let me go through kind of an example. And one of the things that they want you to know before I do that example are they want you to participate in performance improvement and quality improvement processes using research and references, to really guide what you're doing, report any issues or problems, and then evaluate the impact of performance improvement measures on the patient care and resource utilization. So let me give you just an example and kind of touch on each of those. So a good example is how often do we change out IVs? What is our policy? And currently, this is, fall of 2016 that I'm saying this. Currently, a lot of hospitals will change out IVs after 72 to 96 hours, regardless of what they look like. And if they're a field stick, meaning if EMS put it in, it's within 24 hours. But that's not what necessarily the research is showing is best. Research has come out from multiple sources and multiple reviews and studies saying that if you leave an IV in as long as you want, as long as there are no signs of infection or infiltration, there's no worse outcome for the patient, essentially. And so a lot of hospitals might be doing their own little performance improvement, quality assurance kinds of things to see, hey, does this validate that? And, I've been a part of a couple of studies like that where, okay, so this is what the research is showing. Utilize research and other references for performance improvement actions. All right, so we're going to look at this research that says, hey, we could leave these in as long as they're functioning fine and, save the patient, not only save the patient another stick or two to find another IV, to take one out, but also save the cost of supplies. We don't think about it as nurses, the cost necessarily of these smaller supplies we're using. Because when you start an IV, what do you use? Your angiocath, some tape, a tegaderm, maybe a couple gauze just in case, a little bleeding, alcohol swab or whatever you're using per policy to clean that site first. And some hospitals require patients to start IVs with a little bit of lidocaine so they don't feel it. So you think about the cost of all that. And while for one patient that's not very much, but if you just, think about times that however many patients need IVs and however many they get started and reattempts and all that cost at the end of the day ends up being astronomical. So anything that we can save financially is also beneficial. So, maybe you do a performance improvement thing on your unit surrounded about that. Here's the research. Here, let's go through this process and see, because we're reporting any identified patient care issues and problems, and then we're evaluating it. And how did this impact patient care? And how did this impact our resource uses? So, I would argue that, not only changing out lines when you actually really, really need to, as opposed to routinely, would be a good satisfier for a patient. And also a good satisfier for a nurse. I don't need to spend time starting another IV for no reason. My time is saved, patient has saved a stick, and we've also saved ourselves some supplies. So that's just a way to look at that. So you as the nurse should be, and as a nurse passing the NCLEX and functioning in practice, want to be able to define what is performance improvement or quality assurance, and how do I participate, and how do my patients and where I work benefit from these projects. Essentially, we're trying to perform or improve our performance, and we're trying to identify areas that need improvement, studying that. What can we do better? And then if we do better, what benefits do we stand to gain? So that's kind of, and this is definitely, I mean, it sounds higher level when you look at it and like floofy, like we don't really do this. You do. And it's important. And a lot of hospitals and units require, hey, we're going to do a certain amount of performance improvement projects on our unit. And it's really important because practice changes very frequently. Qualities of care and new research comes out to say, hey, this is better, or new products come out. So we constantly need to be evolving. And that's why this is an important aspect of this now and will continue to be. So that is episode 40, Define Performance Improvement and Quality Assurance Activities.
This has been another episode of the unofficial NCLEX Prep Podcast. To get the massive PDF guide that goes along with this podcast, head over to nrsng.com/NCLEX Prep. That's nrsng.com/NCLEX Prep. That's a free download that you can take with you anywhere, and you can basically have this podcast in text format. Our goal here at nrsng.com is to give you the tools and the confidence that you need to succeed in nursing school, on the NCLEX, and in your life as a nurse. We want you to succeed, and we want you to become part of this movement of nurses that is dedicated and motivated to learning and becoming the best nurse that they can possibly be. My name is John Haas, RN CCRN, and I'm the founder of NRSNG.com, and I sincerely thank you for being here, and I'm so proud of you for taking this step in your journey. Now you know what time it is now. It's time to go out and be your best self today. Happy nursing.